Meeting to order for JEDCO. Go ahead, Mr. Lewis, would you lead us in the prayer? First of all, let's see if we have a quorum.
Yeah. Got 10.
We have a quorum. So if you'll go ahead and lead us in first.
Eternal God, we just give you all the praise, all the glory. And God, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve our community. We ask that you would give us the wisdom, the vision, the initiative to bring this community together and move forward. We cannot do anything without your guidance and your direction. So God, we ask that you would bring us together in unity, give us the ideal how to attract new business in our community, grow our community together. And we love you and we praise you and we thank you for all things. Thank you, God, for giving us the opportunity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, and I do want to check, the people on the website, can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
I got a thumbs up, so.
You might need to. We're just gonna echo it, because you have on this stuff.
Mine is on.
Is that better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, we didn't have anybody sign up. Do I have anybody who wants to make any public comment? Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and dive right into the meeting. We sent out the meeting minutes for the September 2nd, September 15th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion with approval.
We have an amendment to the 9:15 minutes.
Okay, what is that amendment?
The amendment is that the bank requires their names in the minutes, so I propose that we put Dubuque Federal Credit Union, Wave Credit Union, and Southside Bank in the 9:15 minutes.
Tell me what they are again, do good.
Dubuque Federal Credit Union, Wave Credit Union, and Southside Bank.
Since we've already been approved for the, I think, First State Bank,
Yes.
my recommendation that all the banks be listed over here.
That would be fine.
Okay, any concerns with that amendment, or the changes to the minutes? If so, I'm going to call the question. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Minutes approved. I'm going to go ahead and use my discretion because of the technical issues that we're having. Go ahead and bring the bills discussion up forward to the next meeting so that our guests do not have to stay on the phone for the whole meeting. So as we, if you don't mind, the representatives from Bells on the web, on the Zoom call, would you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Gloria Enlock. I oversee real estate in-house for Bells. I cover Texas, Louisiana, New Mexico, Arizona, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. That's about it. We're excited to try to get this done.
I'm Bruce Frankel. I'm Gloria's real estate broker for all of East Texas. I actually started working on this deal. I visited your wonderful town back in about May of 2020, and started working on this deal around that time with another real estate with Gloria's predecessor. So we've been trying to get this thing through for 5 years now. Anyway, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, and just for transparency, we brought this up at one of our last meetings, and several of the board members had questions. As you know, we have a whole complete new board. And I'm going to open up the floor to any of the board members. And I appreciate you taking the time, especially on a Friday night, to call in. So we had a lot of questions at the last meeting, so I would encourage any board member to go ahead and take this opportunity to ask questions.
If I can say, this deal means as much to Bells as it does to your city. So it's our pleasure to meet with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, any questions from board members?
Gloria, I have a question. Can you tell us how much revenue y'all stores typically bring in?
Well, it varies. I would say typical Texas store, is around like 3 million annually, but a market like Jasper, we should see it upwards of 4, just due to there's a big hole in the market, in that area. So we should have an influx of customers that are coming from the small towns surrounding Jasper. And the previous tenant in that space, which went out of business, Stage, they saw around 3 million in sales prior to 2020. So knowing that, we should definitely exceed that by a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I'd like to know what would happen if, I'm just speaking for myself, if the members of this board decided not to fund the $160,000, what would take place at that particular time?
The deal's not gonna happen. This money that JEDCO, is going to invest toward this deal is basically the difference between, it's the bridge between what Bells can afford and what the landlord is willing to put out. I mean, it's basic. Like, if this money is not granted to Bells can't come to town. They can't.
Yeah, the pro forma that we used to evaluate, this is twofold. The pro forma we used to evaluate this deal, it went to committee prior to us connecting with the previous members of the board. And the capital expense was $1 million for us. And it was too much to digest. There's just no way we could have made it with that much invested into the store. So, we went back and tried to figure out how do we get this deal moving. And that 160,000 honestly just made it look to where we could do it versus we can't do it. It's that kind of a deal. I will say the landlord originally, prior to me joining, was only contributing 160,000. So he has moved the needle upwards to 360. So we've got him to move it. And now we just need an extra buffer in there. And I believe we've also got another tenant that should go next to us. It stands for the 2 tenants. If the space is being demised, it was, they operated as a clothing store and shoe store. So it will be demised with those. And then Shoe Show will go next to us. So we'll be bringing 2 businesses to the market.
Laura, can I add one other thing? Yeah. When we tried to put this deal together in 2020, Stage was still in business, and the deal fell apart right after they closed. We just couldn't come to terms, and since then, the box itself has been sitting there for 5 years. damage, which is one of the reasons why we need additional money. The ceiling, 5 years ago, the ceiling was fine, now it's not. The floor was fine, now it's not. There's just other things that the weather conditions, the humidity, they had a roof leak that caused damage. It's a multitude of things that have created more damage to the space than there was 5 years ago. So, as Gloria said, the developer upped the contribution, but we're just not, we're not close enough. So, this is the money that you're offering is gonna bridge the gap and make this deal happen.
But she also mentioned another store too as well, another shoe store, something that will be going next to that particular store.
Yeah, yes, the Gloria's predecessor, her predecessor hired me to work for Bell's. And she moved on to a company called Shoe Show that is based out of Charlotte, I forget the town, but it's near Charlotte, North Carolina. They're a privately held company with over 1,200 stores in 48 states. The only states they're not in are Alaska and Hawaii. And the privately held, strong company, they trade under 3 names. They plan to come in here with the Shoe Department, which is their brand, and the most popular brand. And it'll be a family shoe store, and they also sell handbags, hosiery. It's a terrific store. It'll be about a 9,000 square foot store, which will be going right next door to Bell's. So to Gloria's point, not only will you guys be getting Bell's, but you'll also be getting a shoe store. Now, a separate company, separate deal, but the shoe department is a certain size, and they will not come unless Bell's comes. So they won't come without an apparel anchor. And Bell's is your apparel anchor.
Okay, and this is Bill Grant. I have a follow-up question to that then. If Bell's comes in, is this shoe store coming in as part of the space that you have, or are they building a new facility? In other words, are they just coming in on their own, or are they going to be asking for help as well?
I don't know at this point. At this point, I mean, the real estate manager has been to Jasper. She's seen the space. It still has to get approved through their real estate committee, and we still need to iron out a deal. So I think what you need to do here for this meeting is just focus on Bell's, and I won't know if this deal is going to get approved by the shoe departments or shoe shows real estate committee until we bring it to committee. But regardless of whether or not shoe department comes, having Bell's as an anchor broadens the opportunity for the shopping center owner to bring a whole different subset of tenants that otherwise would not look at this center without an apparel anchor. So, let's say, for instance, if Harbor Freight, I know Harbor Freight's already over there, already in Jasper, but let's say, for instance, Harbor Freight were to take this space, you're not gonna get a shoe store, or you're not gonna get another apparel, a small boutique apparel store like, let's say, Maurice's. Apparel anchors bring other apparel tenants with them. Without that, you're cutting basically the options by 50% for a shopping center owner to backfill a space, or to backfill an empty space.
And the size of the space right now is 28,000. Don't quote me on that. So when we come in and we're demising it, and it's gonna, I will tell you, since I handle all of Texas and Oklahoma, and a lot of the brokers that I'm working with also work with the person at Shoe Show, they have followed me in all of these small towns, La Mesa, Dumas, Dalhart. So I would have high confidence that it would happen. However, now the landlord has an available space that's not 28,000 square feet, which is way more marketable than what he's got right now. So either way, I think it's gonna be better than, shopping center.
Gloria, if you come to Jasper, when would you be, opening? What's the date on that, Mark?
It would, I think we will shoot for all of next year.
Okay.
You don't think it'll about Q2 of next year? Or will it be fall, you think, at this point?
Oh, like a May opening? No,
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think it would be really hard to do that with all the ways coming up.
okay,
But I think fall would be easy.
okay.
Okay, this is Bill Grant again. I have a couple of follow-up questions. In your letter to us, Gloria, you indicated a level of employees that y'all were going to be committed to maintaining. Can you talk about that? And, I mean, we talked about your revenue, but I also want to talk about the jobs. And I also want to talk about the length of the commitment that Bill's is willing to make. In other words, if we give you the $160,000, how long would you commit to stay open? So, two questions. The amount of employees you're gonna maintain, approximately, what kind of, salary ranges and jobs are we talking about? And also, how long would the commitment be to the city of Jasper for each stay open?
That's a great question. So I'll start with the commitment first. And I've worked for other retailers, so I'll give a little color. So, the initial lease will be 10 years, and we will have five-year options. So a total commitment of 35 years, which is a very long time in the world of retail real estate. I've worked for other groups that it's just like, no, it's way too long of a commitment. But Bell's they typically, they just, when we find markets that work, we'll stay, and we'll take it the long haul. It's too expensive for us to move our real estate around all the time. So the commitment in itself will be long. We don't have any rights to terminate early.
Okay, before you go on to amount of employees, I'm gonna do a follow-up question. Typically, when,
Hang on now. It just cut off my screen.
Went to sleep. Yours too. Sorry.
we'll swap over to mine.
It did too. I think he went to sleep.
There we go, Jim.
Yeah.
Mine. back in if you can let me in. That's the problem, is you're the host. And
Does JEDCO have a laptop? Is that the one building? Yeah.
no, there's a gray one back there. Gloria, this is Bill. I'm sorry, it died on Nicole's phone, and she's the host, so I'm having trouble. I'm back in, but she has to let me in because she's the host.
Yeah, she's the host, okay.
So that's the problem. Can you dial in, your partner, and we'll just, or is this a cell phone that I can FaceTime you on?
You can, or I can create a quick link real quick for Teams.
Okay,
And
if you,
email it to you and we can do it that way.
well, hang on a second. Nicole, did you just do something?
Oh,
Uh,
you're in now,
I'm-
you're in Bill.
I am back in.
Okay, all right, bye.
Okay, and I apologize, my camera's not working on my phone, but Nicole, we're back in, so.
Okay.
Let me make sure my volume's up.
Now you're in.
Y'all can hear me, right?
We can hear you, right? Are we, Bill, do you know if we're out of the meeting?
No, we're in the meeting,
We're still on the meeting.
so we're all sitting here. Okay, so when we dropped out, we were discussing, the commitment. Normally, I was telling people we'd like to have people commit as part of the agreement that we write, that you're here for a certain amount of time. That way, the investment that we're making in the business makes sense financially to JEDCO. I don't think it would be as long as 10 years, but we would be looking at something probably like a 5-year commitment minimum.
Yeah, that's fine.
And,
At least.
okay, and then could you also talk about the level of employees and whether you would be hiring locally or bring them in and what salary ranges, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no problem. As far as so once construction starts, we, will then go and start getting into the city and working on staffing a store manager, so that's the position they will staff first. And then, the store manager will work with the district manager to staff a couple of assistant managers. So you'll have the 3 during construction that are, employees, and then they'll start building the team, so total 18 employees, that will house this store. As far as pay goes, I would need to get back with you on that one. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just-
Structure. I know it's gonna be probably salary for the store manager, but I'm not sure the next, when it converts to hours, but I know it does.
So, I guess my real question, I'll just get to the chase, for most of your salespeople and everything, a lot of people are concerned that this will just be minimum wage paying jobs, stuff like that, so that's kind of what I'm trying to get, are these gonna be higher than minimum wage jobs, and to what level, and even though you can't be specific, that's what I'm really asking is if your salespeople are gonna be, above the minimum wage, type of positions.
Yeah, I wanna say, well, I'll tell you some history about, most of the people that I've worked with have been, with Bells for 30 plus years, and every single one of them started at the store. And so, this company has been around since, 1905. for 10 years in business. And, so with that, you're not gonna keep employees if you're not, right? Nobody's gonna stick around for 35 years, it's the only job some people have ever had in their lifetime. I would imagine a $15 an hour pay probably for like, you know, the bottom, and then it works up from there. To where store managers should be in the 70s, I'm assuming, okay,
Gloria, I think you're probably right, that's what I was.
yeah, it's not gonna be looking at me.
I won't be minimum wage.
And
And,
there will be benefits as well.
and one more question I have for you, Gloria, for the ones I haven't talked, and I've talked to you myself a couple times, but can you describe the difference between this Bill's in the Stage Store and the Bill's that have had a presence in Texas before?
Sure, so the bells that originated in Texas, and I couldn't tell you when, was a Texas-based, retailer, discount merchandise. I mean, it's very similar as far as like the type of mechanism they ran. I will say their stuff was kind of out of date, a little bit lower level clothing. But so us, our bells, we are based out of Bradenton, Florida, which is south of Tampa. Like I mentioned, we've been around for 110 years. We're our fourth generation CEO, Matt Bell. His dad was before him, his grandfather was before his dad, and his great grandfather, I think, is the one who started the company. Interesting story of the Great Depression era. He actually lost the business to the bank and bought it back eventually. And after that point, we do not get into debt. We're a debt-free company, and you know, I think that was a lesson learned on his part to leverage too much. So, you know, we're very conservative as far as our open, you know, how many stores we open this year. We report to Wall Street, so it gives a lot more flexibility on pay and, you know, ability to move, ability to spend capital when we need to, et cetera. So, you know, we've got a concept. We have Bell, which is off-price retailer that you could compare to like Marshall. And then we have a home goods concept called Home Centric. And we do put those in the bigger metro area. And so with that, we've got these two concepts. However, the Bell concept also has a home component. So you will have not only like clothing for mom, dad, and kids. There will be some shoes, some shoes in there, but as well as some home, you know, kitchen stuff, kitchen gadgets, and then, you know, there's a pretty nice beauty section in Bell where you can get some really good deals on some of the higher end products, like Chi or Sol de Janeiro. I shop too much, so I only have $200. So it should give a pretty good base variability to the clientele in Jasper with something that they can't find today. And it's you know, it's constantly changing as far as inventory. I always tell people, if you see something in a belt that you like, you need to buy it because it might not be there next month. Because we're, you know, our buyers, we have buyers based out of New York, we've got a West Coast buyers, buyers in California, and we've got some based in Florida. They are constantly going to market and negotiating contracts with vendors, such as like Under Armour, Nike, to get, you know, get these brands into our store and be able to sell them at a discount price, make them affordable.
Can I add something? So Bill, basically, what Gloria said about the state bell halls, they were like a discount department store. Bell's is a discount, is a department store, but they're an off-price stage is state-of-the-art, distribution center in Jacksonville. So that gives you the commitment, I mean, basically, the statement that Bill's made, by buying that was they are very, very committed to Texas as well as the western United States.
How many jobs will be open?
They said they would have 3 during construction, and then they would maintain 18 employees, once they open.
Yes.
Tom?
I'd like to speak to Bill's people, if you don't mind.
Sure.
If y'all can hear me.
Can you hear Tom?
My name is,
No.
my name is Tom McClure, and I'm the new interim executive director.
You might have to come over here closer, Tom.
I can hear.
Oh, you can hear him now? Okay.
All right, I am relatively new for the time being. I have been executive director here years past. I am a resident of Jasper, and I would love to see the things that you people are proposing to have here from the economic development point of view is very important. Unfortunately for you, our Economic Development Corporation is, according to state law, formed under what we call Title A, Chapter 504 Type A Corporation. That's designed primarily for industrial and what they call primary jobs, jobs that lead to other jobs at high pay. It would seem like to me, in order to get where you need to go, and I understand there must be a development group that you are working through. Is that right?
Yes.
Somebody that's added a shoe store to the concept of being here. Don't give up on JEDCO, but there are some steps before JEDCO can do this at all. For instance, one of the things I'm going to advise is that we cannot vote to approve any of these funds tonight without having a public hearing on it before we do it. And that public hearing has to give public notice.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm gonna reiterate that because Tom's away from the mic a little bit.
Thank you.
We don't know what the thought process of the previous board, but when Tom was doing the research about what types of investments that we can do. And it's not that we can't do some of this stuff, but we have to have a public hearing, and I don't believe that has happened in this case yet.
I can't find any documentation about this. All that we know is there is a letter of intent that's non-binding.
Yeah.
We would like to see this happen. I suggest, this is really an issue for a city community development project, like a downtown development, where you get an entire shopping center at the same time, renovation for butchers and other attached stores. Everybody gets a benefit from an overall approach. JEDCO in years past had a business facade improvement program. I'm not positive that still exists today. It all depends on funds that remain in the budget.
Tom, can you approach the mic? I'm having a really hard time.
Yeah, come on over here, Tom.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'm saying that the best approach to this would be to put it in a community development type in relationship to the city. They receive funds from HUD for downtown development and other things. The city is working towards finalizing that program. Behind you, that's what the plan is for the community development in downtown. We potentially could have a vote and put it on a ballot, let it be voted on, to utilize economic development type A funds for a specific project, and it has to be very specified, okay? That would allow us to use type B, which is more commercial businesses can get advantage out of that. Our proposal would be for JEDCO to apply and try to get themselves appointed as a type B agency as well as a type A agency, which then they can shift money between one and the other. That would give them a full 1 cent sales tax instead of a half cent that we currently have. That takes time. We have to go through the state and we have to go through an election program. But I think maybe perhaps a quicker way, rather than doing the type B thing full scale, is to see how much we can get from the other properties, who those property owners might be. I would like to talk to your development people to find out what they know and what they're likely to do. We could look at doing this without violating the rules that JEDCO has to follow. Also, I have a concern that, well, let me just say that $160,000 is not a huge amount for us, but it takes money away from any other organization that comes in and asks for significantly more. We are geared to be industrial related, so you can imagine what requests could be. Those would have to turn to the state of Texas to get assistance from them to make that happen. But if we could have a further discussion, kind of take it back to almost to the starting point, let us discuss what you need and that sort of thing. Let us talk to other businesses along the line in that complex and see if there's a combined effort that could be made and let everybody in that area benefit from it one time.
I don't understand what the other businesses have to do with this and the combined effort. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, the other businesses wouldn't have to do anything if they weren't participating. I doubt that, that they would not be interested in having their facilities, the fronts of their buildings brought up to scale, making the parking lot better or bigger or whatever else might be needed.
I think let me inject something. You're talking about getting available funds for those type of projects, right?
Yes. Not necessarily JEDCO's money right now.
But Tom, I want to ask you a question while I have them on the phone and I have you here as well. So you did the research on the type A that we are operating under today. This is not a perfect fit for a type A type organization. However, if they're wanting to move by next fall and be in service next fall, what actions can we take other than the time-consuming stuff of doing this? If we can take any action at all, a public hearing, what would that look like?
Why can't, our type A can vote on this, I don't understand why we have to do public hearings, those are typically for type Bs. Type A can do improvements to buildings, so I don't understand why we couldn't vote on this tonight, whether to do it or not.
Yeah.
Because the
I'm looking.
population has to be less than 7,500.
No, we're type A.
We are less than that. You mean the county?
What's the population, Candy?
For the county?
No. City, we represent the municipality.
6,884, I believe, is the last one.
You're correct. 6,680.
Okay, I'm sorry, Kenneth, did you have a number?
Well, I just went, I know we had 7,000, and I'm not,
And Gloria, your number was from the census?
where she had this?
No, my number's from our software, which might not be 100% accurate, but we have 7,136.
Okay.
So 7,136, so that would be below the 7,500 that you're talking
Yes.
about.
Yeah.
And you would have to just basically get an agreement with the board of directors and the city, that you want to do this, and then you can move without going through the other process.
So Nicole is correct, that if we're below 7,500, we can take action on this.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And Donald, I forwarded you, and I know it means I don't remember if you had this, but I did forward you the letter with the previous ordinance.
Yeah, I have it in front of me, Gloria, and basically, you know, we were asking for some of the things I said, a financial statement, a business plan, monthly, and what you were asking from us is cost of infrastructure, electric, sewer, water, and gas, cost of HVAC, and repair of the existing fire sprinkler system. So if we're below the 7,500, Tom, then we can't take action on this if we choose to.
I believe so, but it has to also see electrical approval.
We will make that a condition. What he's saying is we can approve it, but we'll have to also get city council approval. So, I don't know when the next meeting would be, but we would,
14.
Why do you need city council approval?
Because it's over
The
50,000.
14th,
Because they agreed to us to be 7A.
It's also
We're
over
looking at
50,000.
7B, but we don't, we would have to do this for every proposal that somebody came to us in the city that wanted some money for their business. I think it's real risky for you guys to do that because you're opening the door wide open to having a lot of other people come up here and say, let's do this.
yeah, that's a different discussion we're gonna have as well.
This is primarily to address, if you can address a particular need in a community, then you're addressing to meet a need.
It's a void waste.
Okay, so,
Can I just add something?
yes, please.
Yeah, I think what differentiates, or what may differentiate us from anybody else, is the size of the tenant. Tenant is 18,000 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know who else would ask for something like this. That's number one. Number two, this tenant is gonna bring more business, more retailers to town. That's why it's called an anchor. Without an anchor, the other tenants are not gonna follow. And lastly, to get industry. When industry looks, I don't know what your docket looks like, or what it's looked like the past 5 years or 3 years, in terms of interested parties looking at this community to establish an industrial business. But if I'm a company that is looking at coming to Jasper, one of the first things I'm going to look at is the amenities. Does this town have the workforce? I mean, obviously they're going to look at skilled workforce. Does it have the skilled workforce? Number one. But number two, does it have amenities that will help draw people to this town? And one of those things is, retail, restaurants, retail. You gotta have the basic essentials to make your town more desirable by larger companies. And right now, you guys are, I think, in our opinion, you're underserved in the apparel category in retail. And what we're offering here is an opportunity to help you guys change that. And listen, you've got, I don't know what it is, but I've driven a lot of markets for Bell's, I represent them in all of East Texas. And I don't know what it is about your town, but your town is very charming. This center is in the right place, but this center has just suffered from vacancy. There's vagrants living in that center in the front, and that's, go ahead.
Some other small towns, put in some fines or violations to landlords, like the dealers, that won't allow them to let a space sit vacant like this, because well, in their mind, you know, they probably don't have, mortgage or anything on that property because they've held on to it for a long time. So that's, I mean, that's why they're being picky about how much money they want to spend, but like, there's another town that I'm dealing with, and the landlords are about to get fined if they don't get a tenant in that space, per like the city's, bylaws. So that's the thing is, your landlord out there doesn't have this really aggressive appetite to pull in tenants, where you could, where some do, but this one, he doesn't because he's making money.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree, but I wanna get us back on point. Tom has some more things to say, but before he does, any other questions from other board members? Any other questions that have not been answered? Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what y'all are saying exactly. I mean, I have the same observations you do. But it's just not the job of the Economic Development Corporation as it currently stands. What we need to do is to bring the Chamber of Commerce back into this discussion, the city of Jasper back into this discussion, and the public in general, if we hold an election, to create a B-type organization that can fund these things. We would get the funding, but we can't do that overnight. So if y'all could just hold on, maybe come back, I'll arrange those kind of meetings for us to meet together with maybe a committee from the type A economic development side, and say, how can we all kind of pool our funds and interests together to make this happen? I know the city can get in extra funds to do a lot of things, and so it's just a matter of making that happen.
I appreciate it, Tom. I'm gonna go ahead and,
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and move on, from here. So, here's the summary that I'm going to summarize what I've heard so far. We have an organization that wants to come in and put a store in. They're putting up quite a bit of their own money. The landlord's putting up $150,000. They've asked us for $160,000. And if I'm not mistaken, Maria, you told me y'all were putting in up front $440,000 plus, and that doesn't include inventory and other issues that you're going to be doing.
The total investment, the
$826,000, okay.
to get it open.
Yeah, to get it open, but then you're gonna be bringing in, you know, your inventory and everything else. So, they have asked us, the previous board, and there's some things that Tom was saying that I agree with, but the previous board has entertained this, and we've listened to them, we participated in it. There's a letter of intent, and I said at the last meeting, the letter of intent means a lot to me. Because in the business world, when you give a letter of intent, unless you have a reason to back off from a letter of intent, that has a meaning. And JEDCO board did issue a letter of intent, and I am concerned, and I want to put caveats, Tom, because, you know, I made it known in the last meeting, you know, just retail stores is not the answer to JEDCO development. I agree with you there. I also agree that they make a good point that this is a very underserved area that they have. The weight of the conversation in my mind, and then I'm gonna open the floor for everybody else, is the fact that we have worked with them. This has been going on for a long time. We've reached the point of a letter of intent. They've committed in their corporate development and their corporate offices, they've committed to move in if we give them $160,000. So they've done their part. They're asking if we are going to approve. What I heard from Nicole and what I heard from you, Tom, if we're below 7,500 people, which I believe we are, we have the ability to vote on this. Understanding all the cautions and all the things you said, I do believe that if we take a step back, and I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, Bells, but if we take a step back, you might be moving somewhere else, and you might be looking for other opportunities. Is that a fair statement? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it has been fully approved through our real estate committee, which includes like the CEO of the company is involved in that decision. So we, you know, with that, if if I go back to them and say that the funds have been rescinded, lack of a better word for me to use, they will lose the hope that eventually this is gonna happen, since how long it's taken. So we might have to shift gears.
Okay, so with that being said, I wanna move back to discussions with board members and board members only. Okay, we've had the discussion. We understand, and if you don't understand the proposal, now's the time to ask questions. So we understand the pros and cons, we understand the work that's taking place. What is the will of the board?
May I ask one more question?
Absolutely, now's the time to do it.
Are there any, is there ways in the contract that we say does not exceed 160,000, that there's, you know, the minimum start pay is guaranteed to be $15 an hour?
We will have to have a
So-
detailed agreement that does that sort of.
We will have to have an agreement, Gloria, is what the question is. Would you be willing to put things in there like we not to exceed, because my understanding is you haven't gone out for RFPs for this equipment yet, your estimate was actually 155,000 for the things that you asked us to cover, not really 160, but you haven't gone out for RFPs. The question was, would you be willing to accept a cap at 160?
Yes.
The other question, so she answered yes to
Yes.
that. The other question was that you would agree that the salary would be not to be below a certain level. That's just a question.
I would assume she can't make that decision.
I don't see why we couldn't put that in writing. I mean, I
Should have looked into it.
You
as long
have,
as it has the ability to, well, I guess this would be public data or public knowledge. I don't know if that would be a concern at all to those, but I don't see why we couldn't.
Yeah, and that's something, and to be honest with you, if we do vote for this, we'll be working with you on the contractual language. And of course, the board would come back to approve the,
Bill, Gloria would have to get her operations people involved.
I understand.
To confirm all that, but we understand.
Yeah, the main thing that I think that we would want in our contract or our agreement, it's not really a contract, it's our agreement, that we would give these funds for a promise of staying open, promise of a minimum amount of employees, and a promise of fair wages. And I think
It's very fair.
with that, that's our concern. So any other questions, or do I have the will of the board to do anything tonight? I'll entertain a motion. Do we have a motion to move on this agreement?
I make a motion that we move forward with those.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion. I'm going to have a second discussion.
I do want to just say this about with the discussion. One, I understand that we do want to go for big, companies, and 100% we do, but this isn't a lot of money. It's a building that is sat empty. It is gonna provide more opportunities for people. Not everybody can make $30 an hour. Let's be honest. We have a lot of people here who do not have credentials past high school to be able to just go out and start making $30 an hour. But this is something that's more that our town needs. I personally, having small kids, I can only shop for my small kids at Walmart, or I have Hibbett's where shorts cost $50 for a pair of shorts. I am ecstatic that there's gonna be another option that could possibly come in for us. And 160,000 looking at JEDCO, that's not a lot of money. They're offering to stay here way more than any contract we've ever asked people to stay longer, 10 to up to 35 years. And and another that someone had sent me earlier today, there's I don't know whose anonymous Facebook post it is, but someone has a Facebook post, an anonymous Facebook post, and they put out a, poll for us. They put out a poll for JEDCO today, asking the public if they wanted a Bell's here or if they didn't. And the last someone sent me, it said 63% of people who voted wanted one here. So, I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay, any other discussion?
I think it would be a help because some people don't like traveling out of town, you know? Some people wanna be where they can just go here and shop, other than Walmart, nothing against Walmart, we all shop at Walmart. We have Kirkville, we have Newton, we have other towns, Biloxi,
And
Delray,
sales tax.
surrounding areas that will come in, and they don't have to travel all the way to Beaumont to get shoes and stuff. We gotta think about the children here too, and school clothes and stuff like that, and keeping up, everybody can't afford $110 pair of shoes, you know? So I think I think it would be a great idea, listening to the community that I did with.
Okay, can I make a friendly amendment to your motion? Subject to successful completion of an agreement.
Okay.
I mean, I think we're required to do that, but I'd just like to make that part of the motion. And second, you're okay with adding that to the motion. Any other discussion? Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
One no. Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Gloria, we will be in contact with you. We'll work for get with our interim attorney and get with y'all, and we'll start working on an agreement. I will be presenting this, even though I don't have to, Nicole. I think it'd be beneficial for us to go ahead and ask for time on the city council agenda to let them know what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I will commit to doing that as well, but, you have an approval.
Great.
Awesome. And
Thank you.
one more non-fact, I have kids too. During the holidays, we ramp up the toy section. So like I bought a lot of Christmas stuff for my nieces and nephews and bells. So there will be another opportunity to shop for Christmas toys and wrapping paper and all that stuff. I really, I'll send you some cities that have a bell, so if you guys want to look at one, you're more than happy to venture out there, if you're in the area. So I really appreciate you guys working to get this over the finish line for us. We'll have a huge grand opening when we open that gets there's been lines formed out in the parking lot, people wanting to come in. So it'll be a good thing for the city.
And I appreciate you taking time on Friday night to visit with us, and sorry about the technical difficulties that we had.
That's okay. And as we said, this deal is as important to Bells as it is your city.
Right.
It's a win.
I appreciate it, and I'm gonna go ahead and, stop the meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, board.
Right.
I'd like to move to table item D till Tuesday night. It would be item A that we moved.
All the RFPs.
Yeah, I think it's on the Tuesday night meeting anyway.
Okay, I have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? What we're doing is, section 5, I guess.
I
Right.
guess items of discussion 5 would be A, 1 through,
1 through Roman numeral 5.
yes.
Okay. I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, items tabled. I want to discuss the interim attorney. I reached out to Mr. Getz at Beaumont. He is willing to help us. He has already looked at the Jewel Bistro contract for us. I don't necessarily have good news on that front. Jewel Bistro was a small LLC. In the LLC, the only assets they had were tied up into that restaurant. And the letter that they sent the board said that LLC would be dissolved upon closure of that restaurant. We still have a hood there that we're going to try to get recovery of. We're still gonna try to recover some monies, but it's not like what we just, voted on where you have a corporation behind their company and that you can go after it, because if there's no assets, then there's no assets. So, we're still gonna do what we can. The community has that promise from me to try to recover what we can. But when you give money, when you don't have any liens, and you give money to an LLC that's the only asset they have, that's something we need to look at in the future, because when you do that, your chances of getting recovery on something like that is very small, if not impossible. So, Mr. Getz is willing to do that, but I told him it would be an interim basis, because we're gonna go out for an RFP, and he was welcome to put in for that. But I wanna go ahead and get board approval that that's okay, that he acts as our interim attorney. So, I'm gonna make the motion that we accept Mr. Getz as an interim attorney.
I'll second that.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
Will you tell me his name?
I believe it's Michael, isn't it, or
How do you spell his last name?
G-E-T-C.
So is that the only attorney that we, in terms, looked out for?
For the interim basis, I reached out to him because of his experience and stuff, but that's why it's an interim position, because I'm gonna go out for RFPs for the fund. Yeah, but he's the one I reached out to, because I needed somebody immediately on the Joe Bill. So, if you're asking me if I reached out to somebody else, I had a couple of names, but no, I did not.
Oh, you did not?
Not for the interim position. Now, we're gonna go out for RFPs, and sooner, we just tabled, one of the things that we tabled was, I believe you turned on, that wasn't it. But we'll be going out for RFPs as soon as we get one drafted. Because my thoughts on everybody that we hire, including our lawyers and everything else, I wanna go out for RFPs, have people bid, and I wanna select the ones, first of all, we have to get the criteria, that meets criteria, but then I want people to bid, because that's the way I wanna do things here. So just because Mr. Gates is willing to step up to the table, I'm not willing to say that's a long-term commitment, if that helps.
That does help.
Yeah, you recognize.
Yes.
What is his going rate per hour?
Yet to be determined, because we don't have an agreement with him, but I told him, I did share with him, we were paying, Mr. Walker, $500 an hour. That's what we were already paying. And he was breaking that down into 15-minute increments, according to some of the bills I saw. So if you picked up the phone and called Mr. Walker, you were paying for a minimum of 15 minutes, in the past. So that's what I had in mind. But again, that's an interim basis, and that's why you go out for RFP. Somebody else that's qualified might be willing to do it for less than that. But you don't know that until you get an RFP out there. Any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, two, so motion carries. And with all these things, if you do have concerns, Terry, and come and talk to me. That's something we can always revisit if there are concerns on some of these issues.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We've already taken care of the bills. Now we're going to item 6. I did also, somebody wasn't here tonight, was hoping that we would also table these to the next one, 1 through 5. The RFP is till the next meeting, because there were some changes to one of them, and we haven't had a chance to look at them and go through them. So I will make a motion that we also table till Tuesday night, item 6, Roman number 1 through 5.
I do have
Do I have a second? Okay. So we have a second discussion.
No, my my, discussion was on the, so that we don't keep going longer, on those RFPs. Do you think that we should put, you know, when you send it out, you're wanting someone to give you back a bid, right? But like, we don't have how much square footage the cleaning's gonna, like, I'm thinking we need to be more detailed, like on the bush hogging, where that property is, how big is that property? No one's gonna, they might say, hey, I want to, but they're not gonna have any details on how to give us a bid back on it. You know what I'm saying? Or like, how much square feet are they cleaning in here? It probably needs to be in there just to tell, so someone can give us a good quote.
Mr. Brooks, is that something you can work with those teams to get that information? Because I know we have the information on this building. So the size of the building, the amount of offices,
Yeah, what you request me?
and then also the area that's been bush hogged and the lawn service and how much property we have. Do we have anybody cutting the grass at the parking lot of Corvallis, or do we still own that parking lot?
The guys have been taking care of the parking lot.
Okay,
We own the parking.
we're just paying for the water bill, the water and grass.
And then I don't understand the RFP for executive director.
We will be posting, I don't either. In other words, I'll be honest with you, RFP is not really
They're an employee, they're not a vendor or a contractor.
Yeah.
I don't think we need an RFP for.
we don't need an RFP. What we wanted to do, in my mind, instead of an RFP, we want to get the job description and define it to see if what we already got from the city already had a employee description for that position. I need to present that, and RFP, that's a good point, is not the right word. He's an employee, it's not an RFP. It would be the job description so we can get it posted. Does that answer your question? You're absolutely right, it's not an RFP.
That would be the same for the executive assistant, probably.
Yeah, the executive assistant, we've already posted that job, and do have applicants, and then, that's another thing that we need to go ahead and handle up. We've got, just so we know, we received about 20 applicants, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct, I have this here.
So we need to get together and filter those through and then start interviewing. So, Mr. Brooks, if you'll get that information so we can update those RFPs, I mean, that's a good point. We do want to describe how big the building is and stuff. There is one more RFP that we have not defined, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Keith was going to work on that, and that is the door logging and alarm systems and everything.
Did he not send us that? I think he sent it.
I think he sent it, but we don't have it on the agenda for some reason.
Okay, he did.
It's on Tuesdays.
Do what?
I believe it's on Tuesdays.
It's on Tuesday's
I believe
agenda?
it is, yeah.
Because I would like to be ready to act on that one on Tuesday as well, because we really need to get this building secure.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that covers all of our agenda items. Do we have any open discussion? And I want to talk about tonight's meeting. I appreciate the board members that made the time to come on a Friday night. I know tonight was not, I don't like Friday night meetings, myself. They're really a pain, and they take time out of your weekend. That was one of the times Bill said they were available to us, so that's one of the reasons we grabbed it. So I just want to tell y'all that some of the board members had conflicts, and I fully understand that. I want to tell y'all thank you for attending a Friday night meeting. I will not make this a habit, because Friday night meetings are not conducive to getting the activity we need on board members. So thank y'all, and you have my word that we won't